with third grade teachers at Pinedale Elementary School. Do you want to just briefly introduce yourselves?
Melissa Bernard,
Andrea James,
Lisa Terrell,
Ashley Lancaster,
Ruth Steele.
All right, and we've been, you all have been using technology a lot this semester in your classroom. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about, how you've been using that. Do you want to kind of go over some of the things you've been doing? Okay.
Well, I can talk about just the videotaping that we did for the little role plays that our kids created. My kids created for fairly complex economy terms. So they each were given a couple of terms that they were asked to illustrate in a role play, and then we used just the little cameras on our computers and made them little YouTube accounts, and then we were able to view those in our classroom, and I thought it ended up being a really nice thing.
I am James. I farm wheat. And when I sell it, I give it to Sid.
I get his wheat and I turn it into flour. This is some that I've already made. And then I make the noodles from the wheat. This is also some that I've already made.
Hi, I'm Tyler and this is Dan. We represent manufacturing, and these Legos were manufactured.
Kids had a feedback sheet that they gave, and I was impressed both with just how motivated they were to take those really fairly complex terms, things like, profit and expenses and demand and supply and those kinds of terms, and turn them into something meaningful, and how well kids recognized in the role plays what those terms meant, and what was illustrating those terms, and I thought it was good.
Great. Ruth, you've been doing something with fifth grade.
Yep.
Where you have been kind of collaborating. You want to talk about that a little bit?
So on Fridays in 5th grade, either we go down to their room or they come down to our room, and they'll either, like this Friday, they're going to teach us how to make a glogster.
What's Glogster?
I don't really know how to explain
Kind of like a poster, but you can put videos and pictures on it.
Great. And what are you guys making your Glogster about?
What happened in 2012?
So it's kind of, Ms. Kama and I have our plan by Wednesday mapped, and who's going to be paired with who, and what the lesson's going to be for that Friday, and where we're going to be for that Friday. They shared their Native American presentations with us. They also taught our students how to do Google presentations. So the emphasis is something with technology, either we're presenting, they're teaching us, or they're assisting us with our technology. And it's worked out really well.
Okay, so it's right down here. Alright,
Great. And Andy, you've kind of spearheaded a initiative to use Google spreadsheets or Google Forms to do some reading testing. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, third grade takes a reading test every Friday, and we usually assess comprehension, grammar, and vocabulary. And so we set up 3 different tests on Google Forms, and we take turns creating those tests and then give those to the students. And they've learned to use their email to get to those Google Forms, and also kind of learning the skill of reading a text and have that beside the computer and be able to go back to the text and answer the questions through using the text that they're supposed to. So yeah, it's been working quite well now that we've sort of got it figured out.
Good. A little bit of a learning curve there.
Yep.
And I think I've seen everybody use Google presentations at some point. So you want to talk about that a little bit, what you've been using that for?
The latest thing that we've been doing is our social studies occupation reports. It's amazing to me how much more engaged the kids are with using those, both in preparing their reports. They love the research feature that they can go in and find pictures that actually fit what they're doing, even little short videos to teach the other kids more about what their report is. And also they enjoy getting to be able to be up there at the smart board and use it to teach the class and present their information. So I think they've enjoyed it a lot.
What are you working on?
I'm working on an occupation report. some responsibilities of his job is he protects the Constitution and makes sure that people are treated fairly and safe.
I'm gonna have this one right there.
And what have you learned in this project?
Questions? What did we say? What
That
do
my dad has a lot of things to do in his job.
And access at home. That's been
Yeah, that's true too, yes.
So the kids are actually working on their presentations at home? You find that that's happening?
Yeah,
On their own
practicing,
computers?
editing, adding to, finishing up.
Yeah, and I even have some students who are doing just free time stuff, and especially at home, they'll start just their own little writing piece about whatever they would like, or they're building slideshows all about them, and then they'll just share them with me, even from home, and I'll just glance at them, and then we'll have something to talk about. But I definitely think they're using it in school and at home
Do you have any
for
math?
several things.
Do you have any math games that you play at home?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I have started using Google Docs for doing letters and stuff, and I think they're enjoying that, and it gives them the option of working together to edit. They're more willing to look at it and revise, having it in that format.
One thing we like too about the Google Forms I was talking about is that it grades it for us. In the end, we throw in an answer key and then it'll grade it for us and give us scores right away, and we can ship that feedback right back to the students, especially on like the fill in the blank and the multiple choice questions, but we're still having the students do the constructed response by hand. So I think that's something that has saved us some time as well. And one other thing that I've seen students do too is work in a group on a slideshow, which I like that about the Google, because like I can assign 5 kids to one slideshow and they work together at the same time on that one slideshow. And we've done that in my class a little bit.
So it really supports, those Google tools really support collaboration.
Yeah.
They enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Great. So it's you've been infusing all this technology into your classrooms, and it may be a little early to tell because it's been quite a learning curve there. But what impacts do you see on student learning? I mean, how is it impacting student learning? Are you able to tell after one semester of trying some of these things? Have you seen any initial indications?
High engagement.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
a motivator too. Like they were so excited to do grammar yesterday so they could play on Inspiration and Google Draw. They got it done so fast.
Okay.
Yeah, just a different way to do their stuff.
So it kind of draws them in, and they get excited about using the new tool.
Yeah, and I've heard like a student say, trying to help someone remember what a vocabulary word was, and they're quizzing each other, like, remember that picture that popped up when we Googled, the vocabulary word? So I think they're using a lot of visual things from the technology as well, which I think we will see eventually really helping.
So a lot of non-linguistic representation is available that might not have been available for.
Exactly.
Right, rather than have to create pictures themselves to
Yeah.
remember those vocab, it pops up and they just have that image.
Yeah.
Okay. What about digital age skills? Do you see some development of digital age skills? Do you see your kids picking up skills they didn't have before that might be useful to them in the digital age?
Yeah, I think since the first day of school, they could barely pick up the machine and get it safely to their desk.
Yeah.
And now, my kids come right in and they all have it booted up by 8:20. It's ready to go, and they can log on and get on Edmodo and go wherever they need to go. They can even add a group. Our teacher invited them to bring their computers yesterday, and she was amazed that they knew exactly what to do in Edmodo to get into her group without her even giving the instructions. So I thought that was pretty neat because day one, actually even week 3 or 4, they couldn't do that. So
Or type, really.
yeah,
And now they're actually pretty fast.
yeah.
So you see them just picking up typing skills because they want to?
Yeah, unless it, like the typing.
Yeah, in the past when we did Tech to Learn in past years, it was not very engaging because they didn't really see a purpose to it. And now that new typing program, they're like all about it because they want to get to be better typers, to be able to do more on their computers. So.
Awesome. Any other skills you see developing? Presentation skills?
Absolutely, and I think they really enjoyed the creativity. I was surprised actually how easily they picked up Google presentation and really just went with it. It went so smoothly, and just how independent they were. And how creative they were and what they put together.
Yeah, it was really self-directed a lot,
Yeah.
and it was, when we did that before with PowerPoint, it was step by step. I mean, you really had to help them in this, would pretty much turn them loose, here's your information, here's presentations, and they, I mean, did amazing.
Yeah,
It
last
really,
year we
really
had to provide a
very
template,
Yeah.
and this year we haven't had to do that.
Yeah, I know I came to Melissa's class and I was working with some of her students, and I just kind of showed them where the tool was, how to do transitions, and they took it from there. Like they were pretty confident that they could just figure it out. They didn't really need step-by-step instruction, which was good to
No,
see.
and they ended up with some pretty cool things too. Come see.
Ashley and I were talking about how if we just turn them loose with something, and a lot of times they'll teach us several
Yeah.
things, because once they have some time with it, they find things that we didn't even know about. So that's cool too. I think we're all kind of learning as we go.
And then you could probably speak like kind of on terms of differentiating instruction. You helped a lot with one of the students in our classroom to make the presentation a lot more accessible for one of my students. And you helped a lot with that. You and Miss Mackey did. So that was a
Right.
great way to make something, I guess, differentiated for a student in our classroom.
Right, because it provided us some tools where he could do a presentation with some support to help him out in ways that he needed, so he could participate with the rest of the class. So that was good to see yesterday as well. All right, well, thanks for coming in this morning to do this interview. Do you have anybody have anything to add or?
Go Wranglers.
Cut.